You ready to go? You good? Joe, cheers. What do we got? Get you another high noon?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I've been seeing you online. You're doing all you're working out.
It's what motivates me, man. It's what gets me going first thing in the morning.
What do you got? The competition? What gym do you belong to?
Orange Theory and Brick.
Orange Theory.
Yeah.
A little shout out to Orange Theory.
Orange Theory and Brick, definitely a big shout out.
Yeah,
Changed my life.
I always see you putting up those. I guess they keep track of you while you're there. And
crazy
you have like
miles, crazy calorie. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's good shit, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have a bourbon and I'll still get up and work out tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Don Salafia. How about this sign? I love it.
Fire.
Fireside America. It was done by Marco Lights and Howell. So shout out to them as well. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on again. In this podcast business, this is something Evan and I are doing, part-time as like a passion project. And, we try to schedule people about, 6 to 8 weeks out.
Yep.
And things come up. So, again, we had somebody that canceled and you stepped in last minute. I've been thinking about you and your company. I had a long-time young mentor, Nick Volantes, who lived across the street from me.
Yep.
I always saw your logos on his little white vans and trucks that he brought home. Yep. And when you and I connected, either through the podcast or something on social media, I was like, I know that company. I know that company. I know that company. And recently I asked you, I was like,
yeah,
Jack work for you? So thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
You guys have from what I could see, a really great business, great culture, 3 generations, which is very rare, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to talk a little bit about you. So, raised in Toms River, moved over to Brick at what age?
In 8th grade, about 13, 14.
Yeah.
Went to Vets Middle, and then went to thank you, Evan, and then went to Brick High School.
Yeah.
For 4 years.
Then they brought you over with the cool kids.
Yes. Yeah. So I moved there in 8th grade, made all these friends, and then they're like, oh, by the way, you're going to this school over here now. I'm like, okay, let's go make friends over there.
I always heard they did that years ago for like some athlete they wanted to go after.
It was like the Princeton Ave divide, and it was like the year after me, they kind of stopped doing it, and we had our own lunch table, it was sweet. The Vets Middle
like,
kids.
No one likes us.
Yeah, like we don't know anybody, it's just us.
I didn't graduate, but we were in the same grade, and your face does look familiar to me. I am pretty good with that usually, but that would make sense. You were a Vets kid.
17 years ago, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
It's a long time. So came over to Brick, you said, hey, I'm going to continue to walk in the footsteps of my grandfather, my uncle, and my father.
Yeah.
And you went to school at Penn Technology?
Yeah, so I went to school in Pennsylvania, this little town in Williamsport, Pennsylvania College of Technology, for what we do, which is HVAC building controls. Mm-hmm. We've had our business in Brick for, I want to say almost 15 years now. We were in Lakewood off Route 9 for a while, sold that, and then moved to Brick. During high school, I was always, summers building panels, always involved in, the business, but that time I was only 15, 16. I didn't really know, what the business was.
So we know Phil Vitillo,
Yep.
a mutual friend.
Yep.
Same thing with his father. I mean, from that young age, he was learning every bit of the business, and you're not some typical kid that a business was handed to you.
No.
You've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, like since I'm 14, 15, just, in the panel shop during summers, and graduated high school, and it's like, all right, well, I kind of want to go to college and get, like the college experience and stuff. And there was literally one school that taught HVAC controls, which was in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and trucked out 4 hours into the middle of nowhere for 4 years.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it was, you're on Route 80 for about 2.5 hours. You just plop up, you're like, oh man, this place it's in the middle of nowhere. It's cool. It was only like 45 minutes from State College where Penn State plays, so we'd cruise there on the weekends. It was
that's nice.
It was awesome. Yeah.
So you really and so how many total years have your business been in place?
So today actually marks our 39th year in business.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother.
Jersey State Controls.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, they started April 20th, 1983.
And shout out to Brick, your grandfather was a principal
at Lake Riviera Middle School.
Lake Riviera.
And he saw
the Riv.
back then, you know, you could retire at 55 years old being in the public education system. And he saw, you know, schools are wasting energy, and, you know, like, how can we, you know, come up with something to kind of mediate that? And he got into the controls business.
So where did they start exactly? Like, what were they doing to kind of get this off the ground? I know you briefly told me before we got on, but talk a little bit about
they were
that.
pretty much starting in like banks, liquor stores, auto dealerships, just kind of trying to get
owners.
just like small stuff. Like, I think Gerard's actually has one of our old programmable time clocks in it. But yeah, it was they were just trying to, you know, my dad went to school for liberal arts, so he was substituting at the time. He's like, oh, okay, you know, I'll get into this. You know, I'll try to go sell this stuff. And he was going out trying to sell it. My uncle had a degree in computer science, so he had like the programming background. And my grandpa was just kind of like funding the whole thing to kind of get it off the ground and say, this is just what we're going to start doing now, you know?
Yeah, that's great leadership by your grandpa.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And again, I want to get into it a little bit deeper, but the likelihood and probability of a small business getting from one generation to the next successfully, let alone to the third generation, is almost doesn't exist.
Right.
Especially here, because things are hard, things are expensive, and we go through cycles. And most business owners run into an area or a time that there's a massive contraction and there's just not enough cash there.
Right.
To pay everybody.
And we've you know, we've been in those times where it's, you know, kind of like, we got no money, we're into the bank, it's, you know, tough, like, what are we going to do? And we always kind of just
kept going.
Hammer through. Yeah. You got to do whatever you got to do.
So I referenced Jamie a lot because I love what he says. Jamie from eClean Bro talked about it, I think it was today or yesterday, you know, embrace the suck, right? What does that mean? Embrace the suck. And it's just to be mentally tough.
Yeah.
You know, to have that ability to just push through those tough times. So, you know, kudos to you and your entire family, your dad, your uncle, grandpa. Grandpa still around?
93 years old. He'll be 94 June 25th.
Is he stopping on any jobs? Is he asking you your pipeline?
He comes into the office during COVID and stuff. We had to kind of like rearrange some things, and we unfortunately had to put somebody into his office. And he came in one day and was really upset. He's like, "What happened to my office?" I'm like, "Pop, it's COVID. Like people can't be sitting next to each other, you know." And but no, he comes in every once in a while. He lives in Brick, so still driving, which is a little.
Does he call you every quarter for your pipeline?
No. He just kind of comes in to play solitaire when his cleaning lady's there, and he just likes to come in and say hi to everybody, you know.
Listen,
but we tell him about the good times. We definitely tell him about, you know, the good stuff.
I can't imagine. I hope I lived to that age, and you know, to be able to see my family take over something that I started is probably pretty cool for him to watch.
Yeah, he loves it. You know, he loves that. My dad and my uncle got my cousin, me, my sister into it, and we're just all kind of.
Yeah, so how many cousins and siblings are in the business now?
So my cousin Nick runs our service department.
Shout out to Nick.
Shout out Nick. And then my sister Elena runs our engineering department. Shout out Elena.
Shout out Elena.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's cool, you know. You get to go to work and hang out with your family. Yeah. I mean, it's not hanging out, but you know, you get to see them and stuff. And it's a really good relationship. You know, there's some families that can't get along and stuff, and we just you know, thank God, knock on wood, we just blend. We get, you know, it's just easy.
So talk a little bit about what you guys do exactly, right? We were referring to this system over here at Gerard's, but what do you guys actually do? What is your typical, you know, target customer / client?
So we do a lot of public work. We're in a lot of schools. What we basically do is we take these little programmable controllers, put them on HVAC equipment to make them run efficiently, to turn them on, to turn them off, to not run them at all if nobody's in the building. It's basically just energy savings and being able to see your entire building from, I mean, your smartphone, your computer on site, your computer at home, anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. You know, you could log in and see exactly how your building is being managed at any time.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And why wouldn't a typical commercial HVAC guy take care of that? The guy who's installing the condensers, you know.
It's like a lot of like you gotta know program.
It's pretty complex.
Yeah, it's programming. We have like a lot of computer science guys that are programmers. A lot of like robotics backgrounds and stuff. Because it's kind of like tough. It's not just turning stuff on and off anymore. The stuff's getting so complex with trying to.
Is it coding?
Yeah.
Is it AI really?
Yeah. It's all just plain English coding of if then else statements and stuff like that.
Give me a little bit of the nerdy side of it. Give me a little bit of the AI for the people that may be paying attention.
So it's plain English programming, and basically like what you do is, you have like a piece of equipment, you get a sequence, and you basically program this thing off of a sequence that an engineer or architect comes up with to make that unit run as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's pretty insane. I never got into like the programming part of it, but I was always like in the field commissioning and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that. I think a lot of times people see someone like yourself who's, coming into a business and they're like, well, that guy didn't start that business. But like Phil Vitillo, you're working in your grandfather and father and uncle's business for a long time.
Right.
How old were you when you started doing minor things for them?
Like 9th grade, 10th grade summers, coming in and building panels. Some of our, well, not some, but our busiest time is really like summer because we do a lot of public school work. And all this stuff has to be done, up and running by September 1st when the kids come back. So it's a mad rush to get all this stuff done in like the summertime. And, during the summer, you need people in there. And we would just, me, my sister would be a panel builder, my cousin Nick, my cousin Kate. It would be like this whole like all hands on deck kind of thing. Like we gotta make these things so that the electricians can install them and you can program them. And
did you like it or did you hate it? What was your feeling on it?
I mean, I always loved the business. I thought it was. So
going to college, you knew you were going to come out and do it.
Yeah. I knew. And you know what it is too? It's such like a niche industry that nobody really even knows about. That, we all had jobs our junior year. All we had to do was just complete senior year and we were good. Like for instance, I worked at Jersey State Controls during summers in high school, summers in college. But after college, I took a job in California. I was like, I didn't just go to 4 years of college just to come back and, work here. I'm like, I want to go try something else. So I moved out to Huntington Beach, 2010 to 2011. It just kind of like wasn't for me. Wasn't really into like the California thing.
I'm understanding where the shirt comes from. Now I'm understanding. It's the Cali in you.
Yeah. So I went out there for a year and then I came back and, was just kind of like in the field and just kind of doing like field stuff until, you start progressing and
how difficult you guys, you say you get along as a family, but how difficult is that? How much pressure is that on your shoulders to come in and say, hey, maybe my dad and uncle are looking to slow it down a little bit. They've been running hard for a long time.
Right.
This is now on me and my cousin Nick and Elena to step up to the plate. Talk a little bit about that from your perspective as a younger person stepping into your family's business.
It's kind of crazy. It's it's kind of been like when they were like my uncle's 66 now, my dad's 62. My uncle is kind of, he's got a date in his head when he kind of wants to retire. My dad's got a house in Florida that he's kind of been cruising down to. So like,
sure, since COVID too.
Yeah, and so like they've been kind of just like slowly but surely kind of, it's not going to be like, okay, Monday, January 1st, I'm done, I'm out of here. It's kind of going to be like a slow thing, but it has been more and more like on my shoulders, on my sister's shoulders, on my cousin's shoulders, that when there's issues in the office and they're not around, they're coming to us and we got to kind of,
step up.
Try to make the right decision.
Yeah.
Based on what we know.
Yeah, I think there's something really to be said when you're a young guy coming into your family's business and just being thrown in the fire.
Right.
No pun intended. Like just being thrown in there, taking it through a fire hose and saying,
it's kind of sink or swim.
I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
If not, I'm not paying the bills. So,
right.
Yeah, I think your parents or your family's doing that, properly.
Yeah.
So to talk a little bit more about the business in general, a little bit of housekeeping here is this is all about spotlighting local business owners. You guys are right in Brick. We both grew up in Brick. Talk a little bit about where you see this company going, what type of revenues you guys have nowadays, and the vision that you and Nick and Elena have for the company moving forward. Your father, your uncle, your grandfather took it to this level right now.
Right.
Where do you see you guys taking it?
So we're currently in the process of opening up a second office in North Jersey, which is great because 80% of our revenue comes from exit 130 and up, and being down in Brick, people think of us as like a South Jersey kind of office, but yeah, it opens up a plethora of like hiring, just even like meeting subcontractors. It just makes it, if we say that we're in like Lodi or Walling or wherever, it's
so weird. It's like forever, like in my industry, everybody has to have an office in New York City.
Yeah.
And no one would be there, but we just had to have a footprint there.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like an address to ship stuff to or
and
whatever.
That's so weird to me too, especially since COVID. It's like, what does it matter where the address is? But
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and it opens up a lot more opportunities. And I mean, my vision is, I would love to like get this kind of running up here and like move down to Florida, open up an office in South Florida, kind of take this thing and like really blow it up, because like we've gotten it to a level now where like there's stuff in place that like we don't have to really be there every day, or like everybody's kind of
talk a little bit about that stuff. Give a nugget. What are those things that you're putting in place that allow you to step away a little bit and continue to scale?
Just like the proper management, the proper people, like the trust. Like our team right now, we're in like a generational kind of
shift.
Yeah, shift of like I don't want to say older, but like the older people are kind of like retiring. I mean, I used to be the youngest guy in the office, and now we got 21, 22-year-old kids working for us.
Yeah.
It's and they're young, they're ambitious, they want to show that they're
willing and able.
They're willing and able to step up to the plate and take on some more responsibilities. So I think just having a team like that you could trust is key.
It's everything.
100% key.
It's so important. How do you? And as you can maybe even speak for your father and uncle. How do you just have that trust? Because I've always discovered, for me, number one is letting people closest to me know exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
That's a little uncomfortable, right? You have someone that's sitting there doing your accounting, and you're like, oh, yeah, damn, they're doing pretty good here,
Yeah.
or hey, they're doing pretty bad. And then as well as making sure that they execute. In my world, I'm the head coach of somebody's financial team, and I'm making sure that I'm bringing in my resources that I've fully vetted out for years. I've seen them execute things. How do you let go of that control? I know you have to, but talk a little bit about that for the people that are paying attention.
We've had people that worked for us in the past that, you'd have to be on top of them, like keeping you up at night thinking about like, are these people going to be able to, perform? And the people that we have now, I have like full trust in, just by, kind of giving them like more responsibilities, and just they're taking it and they're just running with it, and I'm not getting phone calls.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing is, if you're getting phone calls at 6 o'clock on a Friday, hey, your guy hasn't been here, nobody's talking to us.
I got no air.
I got no air, I got no heat, it's 0 degrees out. Like I don't get those calls.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to build like that good team to.
Yeah, it takes a while to get there, though.
It does,
right?
It does.
You go through a lot of bad people, and I've done it myself. You hire. I needed an operations person for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not a deets guy. I'm more of a visionary,
yes,
problem solver, and somebody who's closing the business. And to have that organization is really important. And I probably went through a bunch of young guys. A little bit of my fault, a little bit of their fault, a little bit of maybe not the right fit. You're trying to jam a square hole, square peg to a round hole, and just doesn't work out.
It happens all the time.
And you get discouraged.
Yeah,
you know, you're like, damn.
You kind of like lose faith.
Yeah, you're like, shit. I hired 3 fucking people, and they're all idiots.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here? And people may think I'm mean, but I'm just real. Like, sometimes you just, and I'm not saying I'm the sharpest tool in the shed or claim to be Einstein, but there's just logical things in life that
Right.
you should have the ability to critically think about yourself. Like, I shouldn't have to handhold you.
Because then
I'm getting off
I'm
on
just
a
doing it
rant.
myself. Yeah. And then you could just be like, well, if I got to
do
do everything for you,
$65,000 a year in income.
and I'll just do it myself.
Yes, 100%.
You got to recognize that though, like early. You know, you can't like let it get to like a level where it's, you know, now you're 2 years in and, you know, you recognize it early and just, it's a part of business, man.
I hate to give this guy any type of credit, you know, and we should tag him, Evan, in this, but Gary V, he should come on my show so I can, you know, bust his chops a little bit. But he always says, hire slow, fire quick. Hire slow, fire fast. And I think it's true, but when you're trying to build something and you're putting your all into it as a small business owner, we're not this large entity where it's
that
like,
you can just rotate the door and, you know.
They got an open checkbook to a massive staffing company like Robert Half or, you know, something of that nature. And, you know, to have, you know, all of your chips in on this business, like you need these people to succeed.
Right.
For you to succeed. So we're getting a little bit off on a tangent, which is my fault, but it's hard to do. It's hard to have faith in that.
And we get a lot of people, like being like a smaller family-run business. You know, we get people from all these big corporations that are just tired of the corporate world. You know, they're like, we go into work and we're a number. Like, we've never met our boss. I don't know who I even report to. This is what I get to do today. And
they report to Xi Jinping.
Yeah,
that's who they report to. The Chinese Communist Party.
and they come to us and they like, you know, they're like, wow, like this is awesome. You know, I make it a point to go every morning, say hi to every single person in the office.
Dude, that's so important.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I say hi to every single person in the office every single day.
It's overlooked because someone that, you know, may have a bad day and they're pissed as hell to come work for you that day, not because you did anything wrong, but their own circumstances. So cool.
I try to do that, you know, conversations with, you know, and most of our employees, you know, they're like family. They really are. They're friends, they're family. You know,
what's your longest employee?
We've had 3 retire. Kathy was probably our longest. Dude, I was in diapers when she was our receptionist who turned into like an accountant in my dad's basement. That was like their first office was my dad's or my grandpa's basement. Probably like 32 years, 31 years.
Damn.
And we're getting a couple that are retiring, you know, the next 2-3 years.
And my old neighbor, he was with you guys like 20
years.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's something to be said about you guys, though.
Yeah. You know, we like my biggest thing is if you treat your employees right and you give them the tools that they need to succeed, you're golden. Yeah. You know, you got to give them stuff that they're going to succeed in.
Yeah. You know? It's so important. How many total employees do you guys have?
We're at like. See, it depends because like we hire union electricians. Like right now we're kind of like here, but we're going to be ramping up anywhere between like 58 to 65.
Yeah, and those
including like the electricians and stuff.
That's between all like tech.
Yeah, like that's between like our service department and our construction department.
Now, do you sub a lot of stuff out on the bigger jobs?
So electrically, normally, yeah, like we have a couple good subcontractors that if we just get too tied up or, you know, they're super far up north and we can't really send our guys, we'll subcontract out a lot of stuff. Yeah. But our techs and stuff.
Well, now you're gonna have a North Jersey office. You can eliminate those guys. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, dude, that's super important.
It's awesome, man.
You gotta have resources when you need them.
Yeah, and you know, being in business for 39 years, you know, you know the good ones and, you know, like the bad ones. So we got a good working relationship with a lot of good people, and it's been good, man. It's been really good.
So you sidestepped me before, but I press people on revenues, and I think it's important. It was inspiring to me to see what guys were doing in my industry and understand the life that they were living.
Yeah.
Matt Catania, he's the gentleman who has 38 Jersey Mikes that was on the podcast. Yeah. Shout out to him and his partner. They're doing excellent things. You know, obviously talk about 500 employees that are happy.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys, started from nothing. He pulled, I don't know if you saw the podcast, but he pulled Peter Cancro's name out of the old school Rolodex at the country club and called him. And Peter was like, well, how many hours are you working at the country club? And he's like, you know, 45. And he's like, perfect. You still have another 50. You can work at a Jersey Mike's. Like, what a boss statement.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But great guy. We talked about that a lot, and he was like, people shared it with me, so I'm willing to share it with them. So what type of revenues are you guys doing?
We're getting into like the range now between like 13 to 15 million, including construction and our service side.
Yeah, that's a great number, dude.
Yeah. We
you should be proud of that.
Yeah, it's our toughest position to fill has always been sales. Because it's such a niche industry that nobody really knows it. Not a lot of people like doing it. Like, I hated doing it.
Yeah.
When I first started, I hated
You're natural though.
But like, when 10 years ago and my dad's trying to, he's like,
You're
come
young.
on, you got to get into sales. I'm like, no, I just want to come to work, go home, party on the weekends and stuff, show up, whatever. And then, you start getting into it more and going to like different functions and hanging out with like people in the industry who, like dress nice and, are like, can like get you work, and you start kind of delving into that, and I was like, this is where I want to be. You know? So our toughest position's always been sales, and for the longest time, I don't know how my pop survived, but he was like the only salesman, running a business and doing sales.
How many are doing sales now for you?
Just me and him right now.
Yeah. You're natural for it, dude. You really are.
Thank you.
Your
Appreciate
ability
that.
to conversate, and it's super important. Years ago, I think it was A&P. I think they talked about the cashier. You're a part of sales.
Yeah.
And how important that is for a company. And some people talk about salesmen and sales.
Right.
Like, that's what drives the business.
Right. If you don't have sales, you don't have anything.
Yeah, all these big companies for years all try to keep moving to AI and different things to eliminate the sales guy's revenue. But guess what? They still need the sales guy. So
right.
It's very critical, especially for a small business. So jumping back in, we were talking revenues.
Yep.
You're doing approximately $15 million, not just you,
Service,
all of you together. Where do you want to take this? Like, give me a number that maybe scares you.
I mean, if we hired like the right salesperson, because again, like we were saying, it's pretty much just me and my pop doing sales right now. If I had another salesperson to kind of do what I'm doing, so I could kind of go out, branch out, and start growing and not just be doing estimates all day long, we could do 30, 40% more than that, 20, 25. We've got the right people for it. In my opinion, I think we've got like one of the best teams in the controls business right now.
How many big control companies are there in the tri-state area?
So there's, you have like Honeywell, Johnson, Siemens,
so they
automate a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of competition.
I thought they always made it. They just made the controls.
No, they make them and they install them. Yeah, they have. So what we are is we're Schneider Electric. We're a sub of Schneider Electric, like the main branch up in Secaucus. So we're a partner, not a sub. We're a partner of Schneider Electric. So they sell us controllers, and then we go and we try to influence people to have us put our our controls in their buildings.
So why not 50 mil?
I mean, it's definitely doable.
If it's just replicating you, and then making sure and again that you go through the process again of people you trust.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you have the people in there that we have the processes down. Now you just have to get like the right people in place. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Scalability. I think opening up this second office in the next few months is really gonna open up our to increase our revenue.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for it.
Are you traveling a lot around the country outside of this state to go to these conferences and stuff that you do? How are you attacking your target market? I know you're doing a lot in the school districts and municipalities.
Yeah.
Are you going after hospitals at all, or?
Yeah, we're doing a job at Brick Hospital right now. Bay Shore, Hackensack up in Hackensack, we're doing a big job up there.
Now, do you go direct, or are you working with the construction managers like Torcon? And...
Yeah. We're working for like Torcons and
Who do you deal with over at Torcon?
Drawing a blank right now. Got me on the spot.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah,
Steve Franco is a client of mine and a good friend. He's been over there for like I think he's almost close to 40 years.
Yeah,
he's
they're
one of their main
huge.
controllers.
They
John
are
Aletta
huge.
is another guy over there. I've played some golf with him and Steve. Sam Haig, he's no longer there. He retired. But they're a great
They're huge,
family.
yeah.
Those guys all do well. They work very hard for the family. The
Yep.
Tercivias are good people.
Yeah.
From what I could see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you see this business potentially changing, right? So I look at my business. If you're never going to remove me, because people still need that human element of like, hey, it's okay to make that money move.
Right.
Right? They can go read it all day long, but they're still unsure because they've never done it.
Right.
How do you see your business changing with technology and the digital space that we have nowadays?
Yeah, that's what everything kind of is like this whole, IoT thing where, everything is going to be integrated into seeing stuff on your phone. It's no longer, you have to be there physically, like looking at your system. I mean, you could be getting alarms on your phone telling you that your boiler's down.
Who's
You got
getting
no
that
heat.
alarm is it Supra or is it?
Yeah, it depends. It could be, if it's a school district, either the head of facilities, the custodian for that school, or if it's a hospital, like the engineering team.
Now, are you training those people how to use these systems?
Yeah.
'Cause obviously they may not be experts on that.
No, it's we spend a few days, or depending on how big the site is, it might be a few days, it might be a couple hours. But yeah, we fully train them on whatever they need, and then we, like I said, we have a service division that if stuff ever starts breaking, or they don't understand something, they just pick up the phone and
You guys handle it.
yeah, and we just handle it, and that's why having an in-house install and service team is just key to keep growing, because you can pick up your phone and in 30 seconds you could be on the phone with one of our service guys fixing your problem for you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's infrastructure that, talking about processes
Yeah.
that you guys probably took years to build.
And it's all about, like the customer service like we were talking about.
But back to the sales too, and the conferences that you go to and stuff. How are you? Because I see you pretty active on social media, and a lot of contractors don't think that, the plumber may, or the sider, the guy doing siding and windows, they may realize it, but a lot of guys like in your space are like, well, I'm dealing with a random BA in a school district. They're not looking at social media, but
Right.
I would beg to differ that every single contractor should be out there showing people what it is that they're doing and their end result, their job that they put together.
Yeah, and I just kind of, was always kind of posting on Facebook, but I'm like, Facebook isn't really reaching like the target audience.
Mm-hmm.
So I just recently, within like the last 5-6 months, got really active on like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And, just posting, like I'm going to survey a job, just taking pictures of, hey, this is an existing client, this is great client, we're trying to help them out.
It gives you credibility, especially if it's, large entities or big school districts.
Yeah, and just show people, that we're out, that we're active, that we're, constantly, trying to engage new customers, trying to, do anything. If you're out there and people see you, then you're recognizable. If you're just kind of hiding behind and, you're not seeing the Jersey State Controls name, then
branding is everything.
Somebody else is doing it,
I'm launching a coaching group soon. Make sure you look out. The first 30 people, you get it for $40 a month. But we're launching an ebook, and that's part of that is branding.
Yeah.
So you got to brand yourself. Small business owners step away from it a lot of times. They don't think it adds value because they don't see a direct sale coming from it.
Definitely does. Definitely does.
And digital is the way to go. A lot of the old school people don't understand it. Yeah, Zuckerberg definitely helped steal an election, but that's for another day. But you got to use social media, dude. You got to use social media.
Because everybody uses it, and your competition's using it, your clients are using it.
They're getting better at it when you're not.
Right. So I've kind of taken it upon myself to be the marketing director of Jersey State
But again,
Controls.
that's you talked about scalability process.
Yeah.
Although it is important for you to get those pictures while you're out in the field, you should be hiring someone who does that specifically for you. That shouldn't be taking up space in your brain capacity. You need to be focused on selling, meeting new people.
Yeah. I'm totally
do you
with you on
ever
that.
think about that, or is that hard? Is that a hard This is a good question. Is that a hard fight with the old heads?
No, it's not. It's just they haven't really like done it, or maybe like they don't see like the value in it. Whereas like I see the value in it because I'm constantly on it, looking at maybe what competitors are doing, like what clients are doing, like what if they're having issues, if
It's just credibility,
yeah,
dude.
it is.
It's credibility. Let's just say, school district A is looking at school district C doing business with you.
Right.
And C is much bigger than A. They're going, well, if they can help C successfully, why shouldn't we use them?
Exactly, and that's
and all those people are on social media.
They're all on LinkedIn. I can tell you right now. Yeah,
they're especially on LinkedIn.
Yes.
In that space.
Yes.
And they're paying attention. All the old guys that try to act like they're not.
Yeah.
They're all paying attention. Very closely.
And it shows the like the scalability of just Jersey State Controls in general.
Yeah.
We had never posted anything on LinkedIn. We were just kind of selling, and I'm like, you know what? We need to like kind of take this thing. Like in my mind, like I want to take it and just blow it up to maybe like that 50 million a year.
Dude, that's a number you could do, man. You get into Florida, you successfully get into New York State.
Other people do it.
The money's here, man.
Yeah.
The money's here. You just got to go figure out how to,
just
grab
how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to figure out how to grab it. Wanted to spin a little bit back to the personal side. A lot of times as business owner, we focus on revenues and processes and all those great things that I think are impactful on a young person's mind trying to start a business. But it also goes back to, well, I have a wife, I have kids, I got to make sure that I'm still a dad, I'm still a good husband. You have a beautiful wife, Lauren.
Yep.
I have not met her yet, but we need to do dinner and drinks.
Absolutely.
Once the ladies pop the kids out.
Yeah.
How many months pregnant is she again?
7.5. So June 8th is the due date.
It's your first?
Yeah. A little nervous.
It's a life changer.
It is. But
for the best.
Absolutely. Every person I've talked to said it's like the hardest but most rewarding thing that they've ever done.
And it's just for the better. It just puts you to, prior to having my kid, not that I was out being reckless, but part of my business was entertaining. So you can go out 3-4 nights a week having some cocktails on a steak. Number one, I was getting fat as hell. Number two, it was definitely not good for the gym workout the next day if I had too many drinks.
Yep.
So when you have a kid, you just can't do that. At least if you want to be a good dad.
Right, and which is like the point in my life like where I am kind of like ready to, I just want to come home to my wife, my baby.
Yeah.
And
you're gonna have that real soon, bro. And you're gonna be called
really like the days are clicking away here.
Yeah, by like August you'll be hitting me up like, dude, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And that's okay, just so you know. That's totally okay.
Yep.
What does your wife do?
She's a speech therapist.
Speech therapist.
Yeah.
I need that. I can barely speak half the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's great. She drives me to like kind of like, like I come up with all these crazy ideas. I'm up late at night thinking about stuff, and she's just like, just go do it, and she kind of pushes me to she's never like, oh no, don't do that, you can't. She's always like, yeah, like you can just get after it, you know. And she's like my biggest support.
Isn't that my wife too? Isn't that crazy? Like that little bit of just like that person who's closest to you, they can give you that extra little. You just need a nudge.
Right. That's it. And she's been. We've been together for 6 years now, and she's the best thing ever.
And you guys are right here in Point, which is
right down the block.
Which is great.
We are right down the block.
Point Pleasant. Shout out to Point Pleasant. Great
best town ever.
So, where do you see changing in your life, or what do you think you and your wife are going to do from a planning perspective? And a lot of business owners don't think about these things, but hey, business needs to keep moving.
Right.
The bills keep coming in.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot of us that sit there and we could say, I want to take care of my kid. I had these people reach out to me today and they applied to be on the podcast. I think it's called, and I may be butchering this, Live for Unicorn, Evan? Is it Live for Unicorn? Small 501c.
Yeah.
The daughter had come up with this horrific, cancer that attacked her spine and her brain. And I just was, completely like taken away when I got this application. I'm forgetting where I started this conversation right now because this train's distracting me. Where was I going? What did I start this with, though? Remind me.
Oh, how we're planning for, how me and Lauren are planning for, like...
Yes.
Yes.
So planning to have life set up.
Yeah.
You know, think about these people. Their life was just impacted out of nowhere. So as a small business owner, we could sit there and say, hey, our children, you know, may get sick, or we may get sick, and
Yeah.
we didn't get to live life, but life needs to go on. And as a business owner, that's that constant balancing act of, you know, I need to hang out with my family, I need to work. livelikeaunicorn.org. Yeah, livelikeaunicorn.org. Check it out, and we are going to have them on very soon. My ADD kicked in there. You saw that live, dude. You saw that
I
live.
like had to like zoom.
The train came in, and I was like, where did I go? What happened? I was going somewhere with this. We've had great ADD moments on the podcast.
Yeah,
so
it happens,
we like to keep it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like planning that shit out with your wife is so important.
Right.
You know, going into that. Tell us a little bit about your plans.
So, I mean, you know, she's going to have off work for 6 to 7 months. We have a, you know, my father-in-law, like I was telling you before, like lives with us. My mom is retired. My stepmom is retired. So like taking care of like the baby and stuff, you know, and again, this is my first go around, but I'm like, you know, I can stay home for like maybe like a week, like the first week.
And then I got to go.
And then, you know, you know, like I said, you know, our busiest time is like the summer. And like, I got to be, you know, I got to be in it. I got to be there. But again, you know, we're in Brick. I'm right down the road. If, you know,
Close
she ever needs me, you know, I'm 7 minutes away, you know.
Yeah. Are your parents close too, or they're down in Florida more?
No, they're, my dad lives in Point Beach. And then my mom lives down in Toms River, you know. So everybody's super close, you know, like taking care of like the baby and stuff. I mean, I'm going to try to be there as much as possible. Obviously, you know, I want to see my daughter grow, but you know,
if I can give you, if I may be bold and give you any type of advice, you know, we don't need that next sale. You know, put a time in your head. If it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, whenever it is, and
shut down.
Shut down and come home and hang. And
yeah,
I try to do that. And sometimes when he goes back to bed at 8 o'clock, I'll rev it back up. I'll get on social media. I'll answer emails or texts, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, it's a complete lifestyle change.
Yeah,
you know, it's not.
Business ownership's 24/7, man. And you plan the day. That's the best thing about it. It's your flexibility.
Right.
As long as the job's getting done.
As long as the job's getting done. You know, if I got to come in at 10 and work till 7, then, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm somebody that doesn't do well with people telling me what to do.
Right.
That could may be perceived as a tough guy thing or whatever that may be. It's not. It's just in my brain. Yeah. I don't like to be put in a box. And I always love the thought of like business ownership. I make my hours, and I've never slacked. You know, if I want to be lazy and go on the boat that day and go fishing and drink all day, I will.
Right.
If I want to play golf with a couple good friends or clients and do that for 2 days, I will. But you know, I know that I have to go put in the work at some point and some time and make sure that the goals are achieved.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that stuff Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday comes and you're up at 6 a.m. and you're grinding, you know, and it's like that balance where now it's, you know, like I'm just solely focused on, you know, work and my wife. Now it's going to be, oh my God, work, my wife, and this little baby. That we're bringing in. And it's going to be, it's going to be challenging. I mean, obviously it's going to be challenging, but I'm stoked for it. Yeah, I'm stoked for it.
You figure it out, and you're doing all the right things. You're getting yourself into shape. I did 75 hard in January just in anticipation of a second kid. I'm like, I need to lose a little bit of weight.
I was thinking about it, but seems intense.
It's intense, dude. It's intense.
And you did it in the wintertime too, right?
Super intense. I failed at day 60. Which I was super proud of.
Right.
Well, it's not a failure at all.
Right. No.
By no means am I an alcoholic, but I mean, you get into a pattern of things, man. Like I was kicked out of high school, went and worked at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Did what I did, and then I fell into this industry at 19, 20 years old. And, you know, you're entertaining, you're going to networking events, and you're sipping on a cocktail a few nights a week, and that becomes kind of repetition, habits. So to break those habits and to be able to do 60 days of 2-a-day workouts, reading, no booze. It was definitely mentally challenging, but I learned a lot. It was good.
You know what it is? It's because I just had a challenge at my gym. It wasn't like 75 harder. It was just like this like weight loss challenge thing, and I just like quit drinking for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Never been more focused.
Yeah.
Never had more energy. Never
Too
been more
focused.
driven. Too focused to where I'm like, constantly like I'm up at 5 a.m. on Saturdays just grinding, for like a couple hours before my wife's even up.
Now, do you have like ADD or anything? Like you're definitely
I don't know if I have
definitely
ADD.
a high energy guy.
Yeah, I just like I wake up at 5 a.m. I drink a Bang energy drink and I go straight to the gym and the day just starts.
Yeah.
I don't think I have ADD. I may, but I just get like these visions in my head of like what we can grow like this thing to be, and I'm just into it.
You're a visionary.
Yeah.
Chase that. Do you ever put it down on paper?
I don't put it down on paper.
You should.
Probably should. I read
It's really makes a difference.
I read this book by David Goggins called Can't Hurt. I don't know if you. Yeah,
I love it.
Literally it changed my life. I read
Every time I say I can't work out, I'm like, I'm such a fat loser. David Goggins would jump in ice baths right now, go swim in a frozen lake, and run 100 miles, and I'm bitching about doing a half-hour workout.
Right, and like that 40% rule that he talks about, where he's like as soon as you're tired, you've only used 40%. You still got another 60 to go. And in my mind, that's just like what I do. Like when I'm either working out or just working.
I love in a book he challenged that professor.
Yeah.
He was like, no. He's like, this guy's up here. He's like, this guy don't know shit.
He doesn't know anything. Yeah. But he has like something in his book that, you got to like write down all this stuff. And it's something that I probably should do. Probably will start doing.
You should, man. And it was a game changer for me, because what ends up happening is like we're a visionary, right?
Right.
We're making money. You're working in a business that has some of those processes in place prior to you being there. So you kind of come in with it cruising a little bit. Not that you haven't helped it significantly, but you got to put that shit down on paper. Put those goals. Put $50 million down on paper.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the subset of those goals? How do I get to that $50 million? Build out the map.
Right. Because if it's just in your head, then it's just
the coaching group I'm coming out with, and we're targeting the young guy that's or girl that's making 50, 60, 80 grand a year, and they want to take it to six figures. Up to $500,000 a year. And a lot of it will be based around maps and mapping things out, which I stole from my coaches, guys like Sean Whalen and these guys. You got to put a goal in place and then figure out, okay, well, what are the subset goals of how I get there, and what is the intent that I have to make sure that I can accomplish that.
Everyone's capable of it. You just got to want it.
You got to take action.
You got to take action, and you got to want it.
This, I'm selfishly stealing your podcast a little bit, but it's just this is conversation.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what I like it to be.
Yep.
I'm building this ecosystem around Evan and I, right? Evan and I came up with this idea to launch this podcast to give back to small business owners, and I want to coach, man. I love to coach.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is I'm selfish with my time because I love my kid.
Right.
I love my wife, and I love my free time when I'm able to have it. I can't be coaching and be on the phone all day long. I have clients that need me, that gave me their millions of dollars to manage, that I got to make sure that I get them to the finish line.
Yeah.
Right? I have clients that are working on different types of strategies with me and my accountants for tax benefits within their business. I got to make sure that I'm helping them see that through and make sure that we accomplish and come up with a solution to their problem.
Yeah.
So I thought of the concept of the group coaching and to build out this ecosystem that to kind of almost give people more things to know about me. All right, well, so what is this podcast about? What the hell does Ryan do?
Right.
So we actually are launching an ebook, which is really cool. It's a digital book.
Oh yeah.
It's really a lead magnet, to be very fair and honest. And you opt into it, you get an email, and then you're going to get a certain cadence of emails that fires out to you, telling you parts of my story
That's awesome.
And what we're doing. But in that book, I talk a lot about these pillars and these 4 Bs of business planning. And I think no matter what level or scale that you're on, it's so impactful. And when I get away from it, because you do, right? You get back on track and you slowly over time drift.
Right.
Every time I get back on track, it helps move my business forward.
Yeah, and it's going to help a lot of people out, because people who want to, get into like their own business. Okay, great. I want to start my own business. Well, where do I even start?
Dude,
Sounds like it would be
a young girl.
perfect.
I'm not gonna butcher her name because I don't remember exactly her Instagram, but during COVID, she had been writing a blog years ago, and this is what people don't realize, like with digital space. She was writing a blog, never monetized it at all. All of a sudden, because of that blog and the people she had on her eyes, she launched this tie-dye shit during COVID, and it blew the fuck up. She's coming on the show. She's selling to like London, Paris.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude, she's crushing it.
Yeah.
You know, exceeding her husband's income now, who does very well.
Yeah.
And you just never know what the digital space could do for people.
Right.
And, you know, she was talking to me a little bit about, you know, going back to not having any understanding. She's like, you know, basic LLC. Like, how do I set up an LLC? It's
right.
not difficult. But
like, I got this great idea in my head. I just don't know how to capitalize on it. I don't even know where to start, you know?
That is what this is all about. And I haven't got crazy on the show as of late, but, you know, dude, this I'm looking to fucking impact people, man.
Absolutely.
I want to impact people. I know Evan wants to impact people.
100%.
You know, my coaching group, I have a board of advisors that are stud. Jamie from Eat Clean Bro, Paul Artero, who owns Bubba Coos, founder of it. You know, Sean and Pat from Fins on the low. Those guys are sneak successful, own a bunch of real estate. Mike Gorman, my tax attorney. This guy's got $80 million in oil options. AJ, who owns Thrive, and a crazy online business that most people don't even know exists for him. Phil Vatillo, him and his dad have a huge millwork factory, American-made factory, custom cabinets.
That's what it's all about.
He's a great dude. You see that video he put out recently?
The one that he put, yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's great. Evan actually shot that.
They do good work, man.
He does
really,
nice,
really good work.
high-end stuff.
Oh yeah.
Am I forgetting anybody, Evan?
No, but we've actually got a couple listener questions.
Oh, you got some questions.
We've got some questions.
All right, hit me up. This is new.
Oh, we're live?
They were live.
Oh shit.
So, talk to us about one of the biggest failures that you've ever faced. How did you get out of it? How did you pivot from it? And what are you most proud of about how you came out of it?
It's a great question, whoever that was.
How did you crawl out of it?
So big failure.
New York City for your company was a big failure.
Yeah, going into New York was, I would say, probably going into New York City, trying to breach into a market that we weren't really ready for or even knew how to like put a dollar amount on, and got absolutely crushed. That was a big failure moment. And
why do you think you got crushed? Talk a little bit about the details on that.
You know, you're in New Jersey, right? So like you're doing all like this work in New Jersey. You kind of get like, you know, into like a rhythm of pricing things like New Jersey style.
Travel.
Logistically, yeah. You go into New York, you know, you pay a guy for 8 hours. You're lucky if you get 4 to 5 just because of like the travel, the parking, the paying for the parking, the paying for all the tolls, the fines that you get if you don't have commercial plates with like a name on your, you know, it's just
so many more laws and regulations.
So many different things than just like showing up to a job site in anywhere in New Jersey and going to work.
How much did that set you guys back at the time?
I think it was like 150,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of money. But
how'd you guys kind of bounce back from that?
Well, we just went out and just
kept selling.
And that was pretty much it. You know, we had a few good ones come our way, and that kind of like offset it a little bit. And I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Anytime you run into fear, I've run into fear, and I try not to fixate on that. I fixate on the end goals, what I'm building, right? Because at some point in all businesses, you have this lull or you have a difficult time like that, a hurdle to get over around. Like, I just know I'm going to win.
Right.
I'm going to win, and I'm focused on that end goal, and there's nothing that's going to deter me.
In that moment, it's tough, you know? It's like...
It's scary.
Okay, well, this isn't good, you know? What are we going to do to kind of get out of it? And, you know, as a team, you always pull together. And I think that's what's, you know, kept us in business for so long is, yeah, like, that sucked, but it's only going to make us hungrier to, like, get after, like, more stuff and you know, get back our money times 10, you know?
Absolutely. You know, kind of ending this, it's been a great combo, dude. Just shooting the shit with you. The listener's question, that was new. That was new.
It's a wild card. It's good.
Yeah, a little throw it in there. I like audibles. I like to ask 2 questions, mainly for everybody. I'm trying to pull nuggets that are either pulling from my head because I'm just ad-libbing or from the guest. And if there was one thing that you could tell a guy our age, a girl our age, or a young person coming into business ownership, one thing they should focus on, either it be mindset or business processes, what would that be?
I think it's 80% mindset. Like, you got to be in the mindset of, you know, I'm not coming in at 8 and leaving at 4:30 every day. You know, you're going to have to grind.
Long hours.
It's long hours.
Be ready for it.
Be ready for it. And then once you get that down and you're in that mindset, then you come up with your processes on how to scale this, how, you know, it's going to be profitable, how, you know, and get the right people.
Yeah.
You know, that's 90% of it is if you got the right people, you're good to go.
Another thing I like to ask is 2 local business owners that you want to shout out. Again, this is all about spotlighting local business owners, and myself and Evan are not going to stop until I shot a text out the other day. I overshot the numbers quickly, but it was like $600-700 million in revenue on 20 small businesses from the area that have supported or been on Fireside. That's real money, dude. $1 billion of revenue here locally. So think about that, dude. And we're not going to stop until we literally make $1 billion of revenue for the people who have been on this show that I know and Evan knows we can directly correlate it to the show and them coming on. So give us 2 business owners that you want to shout out.
So the first one, Scout Trito Lawn Care. Joe's been a buddy of mine since high school. He's pretty much graduated, started his own thing, and he's been killing it. He actually just did my backyard.
Joe's a nice guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he did a great job. Awesome job. And then the second one, my stepbrother, Nick Catone. He runs the MMA over in the old, what was that,
Wiz,
Workout World?
I want to call it the Wiz, Workout World.
Yeah, the old Workout World. That facility is top notch, and if anybody's looking to get into boxing, Muay Thai.
Yeah, and his story is pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Him and his wife went through a tragic loss, and he's got my support and my wife's support for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Well, dude, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Especially,
thanks for having me.
Again, you have been in my my view and in my scope.
I know we've been DMing forever, and now it's finally like we get to meet.
Now we get to go on a date. But dude, it was great, and you guys have an awesome small business. $15 million of revenue is something that you and your family should be proud of.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And I do believe you can go, at least double that. No problem.
That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for the nuggets, brother. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Sweet.